Hello everyone, in today's session we are going to discuss about spotting errors. This is exercise part 7. Let's begin. First of all, read the directions. The first direction is read the complete sentence before selecting the part with the error. The second is look for the error in the use of preposition, conjunction, adverb and verb particularly. The third one is keep in mind the various exceptions to the grammatical rules. The fourth one is remember the sentence may not contain any error. The fifth one is avoid extra effort and creating an error yourself. The last one is if there is no error, the answer is 5.
Let's read the disclaimer. The images used in a slide deck are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this deck and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathee@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images.
The first sentence is the patient would not have died when the doctor had come in time. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is when the doctor had. Option number 3. And the explanation is the word when would be replaced with if. The reason is that the sentence is expressing a conditional situation. With the patient's death is dependent on whether the doctor had come in time. In conditional sentences, when they're referring to a hypothetical situation or something that did not happen in the past, we typically use if rather than when. Using when implies certainty or that the doctor definitely arrived at some point, which contradicts the hypothetical nature of the sentence. If is the correct word because it introduced the condition under which the patient would not have died. The correct sentence is the patient would have died if the doctor had come in time. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and properly conveys the intended meaning. Let's look at the next question. The sentence is as he's a perfectionist, so he always insists on regular practice. You have options given below. 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is so he always insists, option number 3. Let's look at the explanation. The word so is superfluous and should be deleted. The reason is that the construction as so is redundant in this context. When using as to introduce a reason or cause, example as is a perfectionist, there is no need to add so to introduce the result. The word so is unnecessary and creates repetition. In this sentence, as is a perfectionist already explained the reason and he always insists on regular practice. As a consequence, removing so creates a cleaner and grammatically correct sentence. The correct sentence is as he is a perfectionist, he always insists on regular practice. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and avoids the redundancy of so. Let's move to the next question. The sentence is this is the same dog which bit her while she was going to the hospital. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct sentence. The correct answer is to which bit her. Let's look at the explanation. The explanation is the word which should be replaced with that. The reason is that when using the phrase the same to refer to something specific, we should use that instead of which. That is the correct relative pronoun to use after the same because it specifies exactly which thing or person we are talking about, which is generally used to provide additional information about something already identified, while that is used to specify or define something more precisely. In this case, we are identifying the specific dog that bit her. So that is the appropriate word. Correct sentence is this is the same dog that bit her while she was going to the hospital. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and aligns with the correct usage of that. It's same. Let's move to the next question. The sentence is, he not only comes here for having lunch but also for having a glimpse of the beautiful sales girls. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. The correct answer is option number 1. He not only comes. The explanation is, he not only comes should be replaced with he comes here not only for having lunch. The reason is that in a construction using not only but also, the correct word order is to place not only after the verb and the subject. This keeps the parallel structure of the sentence intact and makes it grammatically correct. In this case, he comes here not only for having lunch, ensures that the sentence flows properly and maintains the expected structure of not only but also. So the correct sentence would be, he comes here not only for having lunch but also for having a glimpse of the beautiful sales girls. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and properly balanced. Let's move to the next question. She is not only sympathetic to the rich patients but also the poor ones. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is option number 1. She is not only. Let's look at the explanation. The phrase not only should be placed before to the rich patients. The reason is that when using not only but also construction, the not only should precede the first element that is being contrasted, and but also should precede the second element in this case. Not only should come before the to rich patients to maintain the proper parallel structure. Currently, the placement of not only creates a misalignment in this sentence structure, making it less clear. To fix this, not only should be removed to its proper position, directly before sympathetic to the rich patients. So the correct sentence is, she is sympathetic not only to the rich patients but also to the poor ones. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and maintains a proper parallelism. Let's move to the next question. Seldom or ever have I tried my best to help my friends who are in need. You have options. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 1. Seldom or ever. Option number 1. The explanation is the word or should be replaced with if. The reason is that when using seldom in this type of structure, the correct form is usually seldom if ever or seldom or never. To emphasize that something really happens and when it does, it's very unlikely the phrase seldom or ever is incorrect because it does not maintain the intended meaning of rarity and improbability properly. The correct phrase seldom if ever makes the statement clearer and stronger in expressing the rare occurrence of the action. So the correct sentence is seldom if ever have I tried my best to help my friends who are in need. That correctly conveys the idea that the speaker really tries their best, and if they do, it's an extremely rare occurrence. Let's move to the next question. This is not such a big problem which cannot be solved with some efforts. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. This is not such a big problem which cannot be solved with some efforts. Let's look at the correct answer which cannot be solved. Let's look at the explanation. The word which should be replaced with as. The reason is that when using the construction not such as, which is a negative comparison, as is the correct word to use. In this structure, we are comparing the problem to something that is solvable, and as is used to introduce a comparison. which is incorrect in this context because it's generally used to introduce a relative clause, not a comparison. In this sentence, the correct expression should be not such a big problem as to indicate that the problem is not so big that it cannot be solved with some effort. So correct sentence is this is not such a big problem as cannot be solved with some efforts. This maintains the proper comparison structure and make the sentence grammatically correct. Let's move to the next sentence. He instructed me that I should do all the work as quickly like him. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's get the correct answer. The correct answer is 4, like him. Let's look at the explanation. The phrase like him should be replaced with as he. The reason is that when making comparison related to the actions or qualities, as is the correct word to use with the subject pronoun like he. The word like is used when comparing nouns or things, while as is used when comparing actions or how something is done. In this case, the sentence is comparing how quickly the speaker should do the work to how quickly he, the other person, does it. So, as he is a correct choice. So, the correct sentence is he instructed me that I should do all the work as quickly as he. This maintains proper grammatical structure and conveys the intended comparison correctly. Let's move to the next question. The captain asked the players to go to the market and buy some fruits as apples, oranges, and bananas, etc. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's move to the correct answer. The correct answer is as apple, oranges, and bananas, etc. Option number 4. Let's look at the explanation. The word as should be replaced with like. The reason is that as is used to introduce a noun or pronoun in the nominative case. Example, as a teacher, while like is used to introduce examples or comparisons with nouns in the objective case. Like apples, oranges, and bananas. In this sentence, the speaker is giving examples of fruits. So like is the correct choice to use. As is used when the fruits are being described in the same capacity. Example, as apples. Whereas like is used when referring to examples or items of a similar type. Like apple, oranges, and bananas. So the correct sentence is the captain asked the players to go to market and buy some fruits like apples, oranges, and bananas, etc. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and clear in meaning. Let's move to the next question. The bank will decide Ashok is eligible for a loan based on his monthly salary. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. The correct answer is 2, unless Ashok is. The correct explanation is the sentence contains an error in part 2. The word unless should be replaced with whether. The reason is that unless is used to introduce a condition that must be met for something not to happen, while whether is used to introduce a choice or uncertainty. In this context, whether is appropriate because the bank needs to determine whether or not Ashok is eligible for a loan based on his salary, rather than using unless, which implies a negative condition. So the correct sentence is the bank will decide whether Ashok is eligible for a loan based on his monthly salary. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and clear in meaning. Let's move to the next question. The sentence is he asked me that why I was not appearing in the examination. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you've answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is option number 2, that why I. The explanation, the sentence contains an error in part 2. The word that should be deleted. The reason is that in indirect questions, example, questions that are embedded within a statement, We do not use the word that. The structure of the sentence, he asked me why I was not appearing, already makes the sentence clear without the extra that. The word that is unnecessary as in incorrect in this context. In indirect questions, why introduce the question, and there is no need for that after the verb asked. Correct sentence is he asked me why I was not appearing in the examination. This is grammatically correct and clearly conveys the intended meaning. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. No sooner did we find a solution to the problem when another problem cropped up. You have options and 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is option number 4. When another problem cropped up. The explanation is the word when should be replaced with than. The reason is in the structure no sooner than is the correct word to use to connect two actions that happen in quick succession. The phrase no sooner than is used to indicate that as soon as one event happens, another event immediately follows. In this case, the sentence is describing how, after finding a solution to one problem, another problem quickly arose. Using when is incorrect because it does not match the fixed structure of this expression. Then is the appropriate conjunction to use here. Correct sentence is no sooner did we find out a solution to the problem than another problem cropped up. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and conveys the intended meaning of the events happening one after the other in quick succession. Let's move to the next question. The sentence is I don't know if any of the members of the society is conspiring against the chairman or not. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is option number 2. If any of the members. Let's look at the explanation. The sentence contains error in part 2. The word if should be replaced with whether. The reason is that whether is the correct word to use when introducing a clause that represent two or more alternatives or possibilities, especially in situations where there is a doubt or uncertainty. In this case, the sentence is expressing uncertainty about whether the members are conspiring against the chairman. So whether is appropriate choice. And in contrast, if is typically used for conditions, while whether is specially used when there is a choice between two alternatives. Example whether or here. The sentence is structure with whether or not. So whether is the correct word to introduce the clause. Correct sentence is I don't know whether any of the members of society is conspiring against the chairman or not. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and clear in meaning. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. The teacher advised the students to go through the notes as many times as possible, lest they would fail. Options are given below. The teacher advised the students to go through the notes as many times as possible. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have understood. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer 4. Lest they would fail. The explanation is the word would should be replaced with should. The reason is that when using the word lest, which means for fear that or so that not, the correct modal verb is uses should rather than would. This is because should is used to indicate a suggestion, advice or duty in this type of construction, while would is more often used in conditional and hypothetical context. In sentences with lest, we want to express a consequence that should be avoided if the suggested action is not taken. The use of should is here grammatically correct and aligns with the common usage of this structure. The correct sentence is the teacher advised the students to go through the notes as many times as possible, lest they should fail. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and preserves the intended meaning on avoiding failure through preparation. Let's move to the next question. The sentence is the inspector was doubtful that the man who had been run over by the truck had lain there for more than a day. The options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is that the man who had been run over. Let's look at the explanation. The word that should be replaced with whether. The reason is that when expressing doubt or uncertainty about situation, especially in the context of an indirect question, whether is the appropriate word to use. That is typically used to introduce a statement or fact. When there is doubt or a question involved, whether is required to indicate the uncertainty or choice between two possibilities. In this case, the inspector is uncertain about the situation, especially whether the man had lain there for more than a day. Therefore, whether is the correct word to use. So, the correct sentence is the inspector was doubtful whether the man who had been run over by the truck had lain there for more than a day. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and reflects the intended meaning of doubt or uncertainty. Let's move to the next question. The sentence is during I was in college, I preferred eating out to simple food in the hostel. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. Correct answer is 1. During I was in. The explanation is during should be replaced with when. The reason is that when is the correct word to use to indicate a point in time or a specified period when something happened. In this case, the speaker is referring to a time period while they were in college. So when is the appropriate choice? During is used to refer to an ongoing period of time. But in this context, when is more suitable because the sentence is about a specific time or event, while the speaker was in college, not an ongoing duration. So the correct sentence is when I was in college, I preferred eating out to simple food in the hostel. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and conveys the intended meaning clearly. Let's move to the next question. Because she is intelligent, therefore she secures highest marks in her class. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to answer. I hope you have answered. The correct answer is option number 2. Therefore she secures. The correct explanation is the word therefore is superfluous and should be removed. The reason is that the word because already expressed the cause or reason for the second part. In this context, therefore is unnecessary because it's redundant because already serves the function of indicating causality, including both because and therefore, creates a repetitive structure which is grammatically incorrect. So the correct sentence is because she is intelligent, she secures the highest marks in her class. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and avoids redundancy. Let's move to the next question. Since the festival of Diwali is approaching, so my son has bought many fireworks as rockets, crackers, etc. The options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. The correct answer is option number 4 as rockets, crackers, etc. The explanation is the word as should be replaced with like. The reason is that like is used to introduce examples or comparisons, while as is used to show equivalence or identity. In this case, the speaker is listing examples of fireworks, rockets, crackers, etc. So like is the correct word to use because it's giving examples of the types of fireworks. As would imply that fireworks are actually these specific items, but the intention is to list examples, not to claim that fireworks are identical to these items. Therefore, like is the appropriate word. So the correct sentence is, since the festival of Diwali is approaching, my son has bought many fireworks, like rockets, crackers, etc. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and clearer in meaning. Let's move to the next question. Most of the founding fathers of our constitutions are so relevant as Ambedkar, if not more. Options are given below. The correct answer is option number 3. So Reverend as Ambedkar. The explanation is the word so should be replaced with as. The reason is that construction so as is typically used in negative sentences, while as is used in affirmative sentence. In this case, the sentence is affirmative. So the correct construction is as rather than so as. To correctly express the comparison in the sentence, as reverent as should be used to compare Ambedkar to other founding fathers of the constitutions. The phrase so reverent as would be incorrect because it's more commonly used in negative context. So the correct sentence is most of the founding fathers of our constitution are as reverent as Ambedkar, if not more. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and appropriately expresses the intended comparison. Let's move to the next question. She was not so well versed in English that they had expected. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. The correct answer is option number 3, that they. The explanation is the sentence contains an error in part 3. The word that should be replaced with as. The reason is that when using the structure so as to compare a degree or skill or ability, the correct form is so as, not so that. The structure is used when comparing a level of proficiency or ability to expectations or standard. The sentence should express that the person's level of being well versed in English was not as high as what was expected. So the correct structure would be so well versed in English as they had expected. The correct sentence is she was not so well versed in English as they had expected. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and properly structured. Let's move to the next question. Both the rich along with the poor are responsible for a great many vices with which our countries inflicted. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. The correct answer is option number 2, along with the poor. The explanation is the phrase along with the should be replaced with and. The reason is that when using the construction both and to join two elements, it is important to maintain parallel structure. In this case, the sentence is referring to both the rich and the poor. The correct conjunction is to use is and rather than along with. The phrase along with can sometimes be used to imply an additional or secondary item, but it disrupts the parallelism in the sentence. To keep the structure balanced and clear, and is a correct choice. The correct sentence is both the rich and the poor are responsible for a great many vices with which our country is inflicted. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and maintains proper parallelism. The next sentence is she has lots of money and she dare not purchase a new car. You have options and 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's look at the correct answer. The correct answer is 2 and C. The explanation is the word and should be replaced with but. The reason is that there is a contrast between two ideas in the sentence. The fact that she has lots of money and yet she dare not purchase a new car. The word and implies a simple connection or addition, but in this case, but is needed to highlight the contradiction and expected situation. But is used to introduce a contrast between two clauses. Despite having lots of money, she is reluctant or unwilling to buy a new car. So correct sentence is she has lots of money but she dare not purchase a new car. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and clarifies the contrast between two ideas. Let's move to the next question. The thief had hardly put the cash in his pocket then the owner woke up. Options are given below. You have 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. The correct answer is option number 4. Then the owner woke up. The explanation is the word then should be replaced with when. The reason is that hardly is used with when to indicate that one event happened immediately after another, with the first event being very close to the second. In the context of the sentence, you are describing two events that happen in a quick succession: the thief putting the cash in his pocket and the owner waking up. And using hardly, the correct word to use is when, not then. Then it typically indicates a sequence of events, but is not the correct word in this construction. With hardly, which focuses on the immediacy of the second event occurring. So the correct sentence is the thief had hardly put the cash in his pocket when the owner woke up. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and conveys the intended meaning clearly. Let's move to the next question. I cannot permit you to leave the class unless the teacher comes and instructs me in the matter. You have options: 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. The correct answer is unless the teacher comes, option number 3. The explanation is the word unless should be replaced with until. The reason is that unless is used to express a condition, whereas until refers to a point in time. In this case, the sentence is talking about waiting for the teacher to arrive and instruct to the speaker, which is a matter of time. Therefore, until is the correct word to use here to indicate that the action permitting the student to leave will happen only after when the teacher arrives. On the other hand, unless would imply a condition, suggesting that the speaker is only permitting the student to leave if the teacher does not arrive, which is not the intended meaning. The correct sentence is I cannot permit you to leave the class until the teacher comes and instructs me in the matter. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and conveys the intended meaning clearly. Let's move to the next question. Seldom or ever have I sent a beggar away without giving him something. You have options and 10 seconds to spot the error. I hope you have answered. Let's move to the correct answer. The correct answer is 2. Ever have I sent. The explanation is the word ever should be replaced with never. The reason is that in sentences with seldom or other negative adverbs like rarely, hardly, never is the correct word to use to reinforce the negative meaning. Seldom already implies a negative meaning, so the use of never helps to clearly express that the speaker has not sent a beggar away without giving something. Using ever in this context is incorrect because ever is generally used in positive or indefinite statements, and it does not match the negative tone set by seldom. So, a correct sentence is seldom or never have I ever sent a beggar away without giving him something. This makes the sentence grammatically correct and maintains the intended negative meaning. I hope you have understood. This is all about this session. Thank you.